Hello and welcome back to Scale War Machines and part 3 in this series on building and painting a 1/35th scale Bronco Staghound. Last time we looked at priming, painting and applying decals, as well as adding washes and mud effects. That took the model up to this stage, but now is one of the most fun parts of making this build, adding all the stowage and external details. For that I used a series of accessory sets from Resicast. This was in addition to the main conversion set I used in part 2. With resin you use a variety of different saws to remove the parts from their moulding plugs. You can also use a scalpel, and for final sanding I tend to use a bench sander from Minicraft. Once I had a selection of suitable accessories, I sanded them all down carefully. Beware of the dust of course, and something like a cardboard box will capture the bulk of the dusty particles. You should also use a respirator. Next I could start integrating all the Resicast accessories that are specific to Staghounds. It's a really great kit and has lots of interesting and enticing details that you can mount all over the vehicle. The set has enough parts for 2 Staghounds. In addition, I dived into the selection of other parts that I'd earmarked for this model. That largely included ammo boxes from the likes of Verlinden, but also a few other different disparate things. I tend to mount everything on a plastic card base using double-sided sticky tape. This allowed me to prime everything by airbrush using a black surface primer. This will help with all the painting stages to come. Try to get good coverage and look for any air bubbles or defects. Little details can be added like the handles for these lovely fuel cans that came from a Resicast set. I just used some aluminium foil from food packaging. Once everything was attached, a final coat of black primer sealed it all in. Then I moved on to different distinct colours. Using an airbrush I sprayed each piece of stowage in different colours from various acrylic ranges, Vallejo but also other tones. This was a quick and easy way to ensure all the different items had a different base colour. I played around with some options for crew figures and then was ready for the next stage. With all the accessories base coated, I next turned my attention to stenciling. Stenciling is really important on your stowage, both internal and external, as it's a feature of military items. I used a range of water slide decals from AFT. I also used some dry rub decals from Verlinden. Both of these companies have had their troubles and you may find these things hard to locate nowadays, but Acher is still in existence. For the dry transfers I used their wet medium paper and rubbed the dry transfers onto it. This is a great handy product because it then turns it into a conventional water slide decal or decal. As you can see, you then wet the back with a little bit of water and these fine stencils will slide off and you can apply them to all your ammo boxes and accessories. This really increases all the realism and will make your stowage look hyper-realistic. Just slide them on and you can use decal setting solutions like Microset and Microsol. You can do any fine positioning with a scalpel and just plough your way through all the different accessories and slide on all the stencils. Here you can see the effect achieved. I then went to the AFT or Acher Fine Transfers conventional water slide decals, and they have a great range of ammo box stencils. As you can see, they're often in yellow, matching the real thing. These were applied all over the remainder of the stowage boxes and ammo cans. Time now for a dark wash. This is to help bed in the transfers and also add shadows to all the accessories. In this case I used an Ammo by Mig dark wash. This was applied liberally and allowed to soak into all the crevices. Next I brush painted specific details and features on all the stowage. Things like straps and ropes, as well as chips and damage. Just take your time and use something like an acrylic with a fine brush to gently pick out all those details. When that's done you might want to add a shadow all around it, again to help bed in the painting you've just done and also add subtle shadows all around the feature. An older technique here with dry brushing. This is very simple and I've done a video on it. You should know this technique. But essentially you rub as much paint as you can off a wide flat brush and then skim it over the relief on your models, and it should give you little highlights around the edges and features. Another technique is sponge chipping. This is where you use a little bit of foam or sponge, soak it in a bit of paint and dab it all over things like metal items in this case to add rust and chipping effects. Here you can see the details. You can also add a little bit of burnishing or wear that's revealed polished metal edges, and for this I simply used an HB pencil. And again, it works well on things like the cooker or the petrol cans. Now this is the bit I really enjoyed on this model, adding all the painted and weathered stowage, in this case using a white glue from Deluxe Materials. First I tried things out and then white glued them into place. This is really fun because it's all about getting the look right, making the stowage look authentic and realistic, placing it in the way the crew might have done to maximise space and organisation. The little side baskets from the Resicar set are excellent and you can fill them up with all sorts of goodies. The advantage with white glue is you can of course clean it up very easily with water. If you need to move things later on, it's easily done. Now we move on to the weathering and final painting stages. For this I largely used enamels, and in this case khaki drab. This was just to tone everything down a bit and add a bit of colour variation, and as you'll see I'll turn it into streaking effects a bit later. So I just misted this over areas of the model just to change the base green a little and make things a bit more visually interesting. With a moistened brush, I could then create little streaks and stains in the finish. This makes the green look way more dusty and deteriorated. A wide flat brush helps here too. Again, moisten it with thinners. Time now for mud effects, and here again enamels are used. Chocolate and dark earth. This is sprayed in thin misted coats all over the model, particularly concentrating around the base areas and around the chassis. This of course is a North-West Europe vehicle, so there's going to be plenty of mud and grime all over it. You can apply the same mud mixes all over the wheels. And let them set for a little while, before then spraying them in something like a dust colour, in this case again Humbrol Enamel 72. Once they've had a bit of time to dry, you then take a moistened wide flat brush and start to remove any layers of mud effects you don't want, like on the running surface of the tyres. Just brush away the enamel paints with the wide flat brush. You can also of course use a Q-tip or cotton bud. This starts to create really pleasing effects of bleeding and merging of different mud colours on the tyres. It also looks like the mud and dust has been rubbed off through contact with vegetation and other items. Now it's time to repeat the process on the main body of the model, again using that wide flat brush. This will create an interplay between even the green applied earlier as well as the two different mud colours, and creates those graduated mud effects. This represents rain streaks and water running through the mud and creating all those different graduations. I work my way all around the model, making sure that the effect is pleasing and realistic. Any finishing touches can be done with a cotton bud or Q-tip with a little bit of thinner. So there you can see those mud streaks on the front of the chassis. Final touching up and improvements can be done with a finer brush, and you can also add to the streaks already created. What you're doing is blending all the different enamels and creating subtle graduations between them. Areas where fingers and hands might wear away the mud and dust, particularly things like the stowage bin at the rear of the turret, that can all be represented with brushes and cotton buds. It was then time to affix the wheels, which I did using super glue, in this case from Deluxe Materials, with their glue tips. Because the front wheels were posable thanks to the Resicar's conversion set, you can get a good looking turn on that front axle. Next was dust effects, and here I used some Tamiya enamels as well as some references from Ammo by Mig, mixed with a bit of pumice. This adds a subtle granular or dusty appearance to the wash. Again, same principles apply. Add small amounts to the area or crevices where you want a bit of dust to linger, and then clean it all off with wide flat brushes or with Q-tips and cotton buds. I then went to a range of Ammo by Mig washes and effects to add subtle details all over the model. I added a few fine pin washes here and there, and also mud and wet moisture effects, particularly on the tyres and areas around the mudguards and lower chassis. Next, a neat technique is to spray things like mud products through a wide flat brush with an airbrush. This creates splatters and projections of mud. I did this all over the tyres, wheels and lower parts of the vehicle. Here you can see the effect of all those moisture applications and the projected mud effects. It's starting to look like a really grungy Northwest European vehicle. Somewhere in Northwest Europe in the depths of winter. A few more precise dust effects were applied using this reference from Mig, and as you'll see, these also get blended with wide flat brushes and Q-tips. Things like the stowage would of course get a lot of dust on it, so it's worth applying it universally across the vehicle and all the stowage. Here the model's really starting to take shape, and we're almost complete. Just a few more stages to go. Here you can see me reworking and blending things like the streaks I just previously applied. The beauty of enamels is that of course you can keep retouching things and blending things to your liking. There we have it. The model is looking virtually complete, but I just want to apply a couple more effects. I add some rust washes and streaks, and also things like oil stains and oil leaks around the hubs of the wheels. Products like dark streak and grime are excellent for this. Finally, I took a range of the references from Ammo by Mig and stippled them all over the model to represent things like oil spills and projections, especially over things like the engine deck. And here you can see how effective that stippling effect really is. Finally, one of my favourite stages is to seal everything down with Vallejo model colour matte varnish. Everything gets a coat in the model colour varnish, and as you can see it leads to a realistic effect. Here the studio lights give a slight gleam to the turret, which I don't particularly mind, but that could easily be further toned down with more applications of model colour varnish. All in all though, I was really pleased with this build. It was great fun. For me, the highlight was adding all that exterior stowage. Anyway, thanks for watching. That's it for now, and I'll see you soon. Bye.
Subscribe for our latest videos.